Hello, English 2 students, and welcome to today's lesson over the Three Little Pigs in perspective, more specifically, the true story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolf. Now, I'm not going to be able to read this on camera, I'm not going to be able to do it like if it was story time because of copyright reasons, but I will still read the book to you to follow along and take annotations along if you wish. I also included the original Three Little Pig story just to kind of knock some rust off and familiarize yourself with the original Three Little Pig story, which has the first two pigs eaten in it. So just a reminder, three little pigs, three pigs, they build houses, one straw, one sticks, one brick. Big bad wolf blows down the first two, and in the original, he eats the first two, and then he gets the last one, and he can't blow it down, and the pig gets his comeuppance and whatnot. So that is how the original story went. Here is, you can read the original one, take annotations over the original if you want. The main reason why this is included in our perspective unit is because of this children's book right here. This is an excellent way to kind of get us into the idea of how differing perspectives work when it comes to the same event. So I'm going to read this. I have attached a PDF in this assignment that you can open up and follow along with the pretty pictures, but I cannot show you them on the YouTube video because, copyright, as I said earlier. So take annotations, easy grade. They are optional this week because of the EOC, but if you take them, easy grade, so may as well do it. You're already reading it, you're already interacting, you're already watching this video, might as well do the annotations as well. All right, so let us begin the true story of the Three Little Pigs by A. Wolf. Everyone knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody's ever heard my side of the story. I am the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. It's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think that you were big and bad too. But as I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now this neighbor was a pig and he wasn't too bright either. He'd built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in, and I didn't want to just walk into somebody else's house, so I called, little pig, are you in? No answer. I was just about to go home without a cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed and I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of a pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it like a big cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little bit smarter, but not much. He had built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, "Go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chin. I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. You're not going to believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know, food will spoil if you leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He had built his house out of bricks. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, are you in? You know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, Wolf. Don't bother me again. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar. He wouldn't even give me one little cup for my dear, sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed, I snuffed, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pig." Now, I am usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a real scene. And the rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner, and they figured the sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't really sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story of all that huff and blow your house down, and they made me the big bad wolf. And that's it. That's the real story. I was framed. Maybe could you loan me a cup of sugar? There we go. So this book right here is the main reason we're talking about perspective. Most of the time, whenever we hear the Three Little Pigs story, we hear it from the pig's perspective, but very often we do not hear it from the wolf's perspective. So we get a different story. We get a different side of the story. We get a different color of the story from hearing it from the wolf's perspective. All right. You can do annotations over that, submit them here online, or show them to me in class if you're a face-to-face student. Are optional, but I highly encourage them because you need to do them for your project anyway. That is due Monday. All right. So make sure you're working on your project that's due Monday, and I'll see you later. If you have any questions, please email me, pdavidson@porterville.k12.mo.us.